Chapter 16, Field Day. Field Day is many years old at Satterfield Elementary. It began as a day of fun, a day to celebrate spring, an outdoor treat for the students. And Field Day still is fun for the little kids, the first, second, and third graders. But for the fourth and fifth graders, the big kids, it is less about fun and more about winning and losing. The little kids take part in events designed just for them. The potato roll, kick the pillow, basketball, boomerang, shadow bonkers. For the big kids, it's races. 10 kinds of races, all of them relays. There's the sack race, and the running backwards race, and the hump out 1 foot race, and the race backwards while you're sitting on your rear end race. The first 9 races are like that, goofy, unusual. The last race is just a plain race. To the big, fast kids, it is the only real race. Each classroom is divided into 4 teams, 8 teams per grade. Each team has a color. Students compete only against those in their own grade. Mr. Yalowitz is the coach. From home, he has bought in strips of dyed material, headbands. Team colors for his classroom are purple, red, green, and yellow. Zinkoff is on the purple team. Before they go out for field day, Mr. Yalowitz gathers his students around him and says, "I'm rooting for all you guys, reds, green, purples, and yellows. It's those other 4th grade measles I don't like." The kids laugh. He's always telling them that they are better than the other 4th grade classes and that they and their teacher, Mrs. Sirota, are measles. So let's go out there today and beat the pants off them. They pile hands into the huddle and explode from the classroom and stampede, shrieking down the hallway and into the sunshine. The purple team has 7 members. The best athlete among them is a boy named Gary Hoban, tall and long of leg. Hoban is not only the fastest purple, he's probably the fastest kid in all of the 4th grade. He is also a take charge kind of kid. And when he says, "I'm leading off every race," none of the purples disagree. But when Coach Yalowitz hears about it, he says, "Nobody runs every race. You rotate so everybody gets a chance." Everybody does get a chance, but Zinkoff gets less of a chance than the others. He runs the second leg of the race backwards while sitting on your rear end race, or as the kids call it, the hiney hop, and is quickly left behind by the other 7 teams. But Yolanda Perry and Gary Hoban are the final 2 legs, and they bring the purples back to a rousing victory by a nose, so to speak. In the hop on 1 foot race, even an incredible final leg by Hoban is not enough to make up for the ground lost by Zinkoff, whose 2 feet are not always enough to keep him upright. The sight of Zinkoff tilting, tottering, lurching, falling brings howls of laughter and mock cheers from the sidelines. Nevertheless, going into the final event, the purples have the highest point total of any 4th grade team. To win the championship, all they have to do is not finish last in the big race. Naturally, 6 of the purples have no intention of allowing Zinkoff to compete. And naturally, Gary Hoban will run the most important leg, the last leg, the anchor leg, and will propel the purples to glory. But the coach has other ideas. "Zinkoff runs anchor," he says to the 7 gathered purples. Everyone turns to stare at Zinkoff, who is doing jumping jacks to keep in shape. Gary Hoban squawks, "What?" "You run 3rd leg," says the coach. "Give him a nice lead, and off he goes to counsel the reds, greens, and yellows." 6 purples glare at Zinkoff. Gary Hoban balls his fists and holds it an inch from Zinkoff's face. "I'm going to give you the biggest lead anybody ever saw. You better not lose it." "I won't lose it," says Zinkoff. "I always save my best till last." Which in fact is not true at all, but Zinkoff imagines it to be, and it sounds like a good thing to say at the time. The big final race is run across the length of the playground, through the yellow dust and tufted grass. The starters for the 8th, 4th grade teams line up at the sliding board and take off at the principal's go. The second runners crouch at the far end, waiting to be tagged on the back by the leadoffs. At the first exchange, the purples are in second place. By the time the second runner tags Hoban, they are 5 yards ahead. Hoban blasts out of his crouch and spins dust like a yellow tornado. True to his word, Hoban gives Zinkoff such a lead that has not been seen all day. When he tags Zinkoff, the other runners are only halfway down the track. "Go!" Hoban yells, and Zinkoff goes. Zinkoff's legs churn up the dust. His arms whirl like his mother's mixmaster. His face is pinched, grimacing lemon of effort. And yet, somehow, he goes nowhere. When the other anchors take off, he's barely 10 yards down the track. "Run! Run!" Hoban screams behind him. Unable to contain himself, Haben leaves his place and runs up alongside Zinkoff and screams in his ear, "Run, you dumb turtle, run!" Zinkoff runs and runs, the flap of his headband bobbing behind like a tiny purple tail, and he is still running long after the others have crossed the finish line. Zinkoff comes in dead last. The purples come in last. The purples lose the championship. The purples tear off their headbands. They slam them to the ground, stomp them into the yellow dust. Zinkoff is bent over, gasping from his great effort, catching his breath. Haben comes to him. He kicks dust all over Zinkoff's sneakers. Zinkoff looks up. Haben sneers. "You're a loser, a stinking loser." Other purples pile on. "Yeah, you stink at everything. Why do you even do stuff? Yeah, why do you even get out of bed in the morning?" He probably even screws that up. One purple shakes his fist. "We could have had medals." They file by. Some whisper the word. Some say it aloud. Each pronounces it perfectly. Loser, 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 loser. He hopes his parents won't ask him about field day at dinner, but they do. They say, "How'd it go?" "How'd what go?" he says. "Field day." "Oh, okay." Trying to sound like it's not worth talking about. "Don't ask who won," he prays. And they don't. They ask, "Was it fun? And what was your favorite race? And did you get all sweaty?" He thinks he's out of the woods when Polly pipes up. "Did you win?" He screams at her. "No, okay?" And everybody stops chewing and stares. He runs from the dinner table crying. He half expects his father to follow him up to his room, but he doesn't. Instead, he calls up, "Hey, want to go for a ride?" Zinkoff is always asking to go for a ride, and his father always says not unless there's someplace particular to go, or it's a waste of gas. Zinkoff doesn't need to be asked twice. He flies downstairs, and off they go in Clunker 6. There's some chit-chat in the car, but most of it goes from his father to the jittery dashboard. "Easy there, Honeybug. No big deal. I'm right here." The rest is just a ride to no place in particular, wasting gas galore. Even in bed that night, Zinkoff can still feel the shake and shimmy of the old rattletrap coming through the loud and clear as the message that was never said. He knows he could lose 1,000 races, and his father will never give up on him. He knows that if he ever springs a leak or throws a gasket, his dad will be there with duct tape and chewing gum to patch him up, and that no matter how much he rattles and knocks, he'll always be a Honeybug to his dad and never a Clunker.